Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that I have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. We're looking at Avengers West Coast, number 47 from 1989. We are continuing John Byrne's run on the title, and I like this cover. This looks to be like static, almost as if this was being seen from a screen uh, from back in the day, obviously before high definition, so an analog screen. So, and here on the cover, it says, "You can't have him, you can't have the Vision." And here it says, "We don't want him, Scarlet Witch, we want you." And you can see some people there are watching. So, with friends like these is the title. So, John Byrne is the writer penciler. This Mike Macklin, who I really don't know much of. Um, same thing with friends like these. And so we start out with the Scarlet Witch and no background. And John Byrne is a master of background, so when he doesn't put a background, it's really noticeable here. And you can see some of the screen tones being applied here. Very nice here. Please, you've got to help my husband. You're the only ones who can. And she is speaking to Hank Pym and the Black Panther here. And she begs them. Of course, these are the West Coast Avengers, so this is in Malibu, California. And Wanda's like, "Please, Hank, T'Challa, if you can't help the Vision, no one in the Avengers can." And Hank is telling them that they can't do it at this moment. They're putting in, it says here, the critical stage of installing the new tamper-proof computer system. And Black Panther says that he can tell the Vision is not in any immediate distress. Of course, uh, what the problem is that the Vision is acting like a robot and not like that loving, tender person that she knows and love. So, T'Challa says, he looks fine, for the most part, and of course she leaves here, and Hank Pym explains to him that we kind of lets us know that the humanized portion of it is gone. He was able to reprogram him, but with the knowledge that they had, but the human side, his soul, that part is dead. Of course, when she comes out, Wonder Man is waiting for her, and he calls her out, but she ignores her. And so, meanwhile, in like the danger room, the Avengers danger room. It's where they have they harness their powers and all that. You see the Wasp here, but she's not in any immediate danger here. And then Simon terminates the sequence here, and he wants to talk to her, and he basically says that he's in love with the Scarlet Witch, and she says that she knows, and he's always, and she's like, you've had those feelings, and you should talk to her. He says, she's married to the Vision. I'm married to a robot. Only in comic books, people. Gotta love comic books. And she's like, that doesn't really apply because he's more of a robot now before, he had that human part. And if you all remember, I believe the Vision is implanted with, I think we have a coloring mistake here. Anyway, implanted with Wonder Man's brain patterns here. So she says, you could always give it to him back, but if you do, you'll probably lose Wanda forever. And so he's struggling with it because he wants her, but he doesn't. He doesn't really want to give him the brain patterns. I love this old fashioned all the ticks that were part of comic books back in the day. So Wonder Man is leaving basically with no resolution, but there's a beep here that one of the Quinjets is leaving unauthorized, and so they're gonna investigate. Meanwhile, the captain, who is Oh my goodness gracious. John Walker, who had replaced Captain America as Captain America, but then Captain America came back and he just took over as the captain. And he's been put in the Avengers as a uh, United States liaison, you could say. By the way, I do have a playlist where I have all Avengers adventures in one playlist in order, so feel free to check them out. He goes into the house here, and then Tigra, who has been very cat like, goes out and he's like, oh, I didn't grab her, so now he's gonna go after her. And turns out she's all being seductive here, and she's like, meow meow. So that was added by me. And so she's making the moves on him, and suddenly the alarm goes off, and so they both go take a look, and of course it is the Gwynjet again. Some more screen tones being applied here. And so the captain says, what's going on? The Wasp says that someone's taking a Quinjet, but based on the fact that everyone else is here, that it has to be Vision and the Scarlet Witch. And so Vision says, we should probably take that. And so she's like, all right, but only because you want me to, Vision. For real. Comic books, gotta love it. She's like, hey, you don't have flight plans. And Wanda says, I didn't put any because I don't want you people to know where I'm going. She says, none of you wanted to help, but there's someone who's willing to help me. Hank comes through and he's like, we're going to do everything we can. And she's like, not having none of it. So she disconnects the call and puts the Quinjet on the stealth. And so, but at least they got a fix on her direction so they know which way she's headed. And so now they are in Seattle, but turns out she's going to Texas. So she fooled them here. And so they're looking for her in Texas. This is where Professor Horton had been brought in, so they think it's in there. And this guy says, she's not here. And Wonder Man is like, oh my God, she could be out there, you know. She's alone, vulnerable. So turns out now she's in Texas here. And so she says the campus of Saunders College, and Vision gives her like, yes, established in 1864 as a liberal arts college, yada, yada, yada. So she's like, thank you, darling. So they land on the helipad, and the guys here say she has brought the robot, and this guy says yes, an anticipated side effect of the deception we employed to lure her here. Everything in readiness? And this girl says yes, the assimilator awaits. Good, then let us greet our guests. And so here they come. Now there's something happening during this era that John Byrne will continue to carry, and if you notice on the suits, it's all black. There are no lines. And John Byrne would continue that in a lot of stuff where he is allowing you to kind of build. So when someone wears black, he does the entire thing black. Um, so this is Jeremiah Random here. He welcomes her, and he's the dean of robotics. The dean of robotics, and so he says, I hope we can be a help. And Vision says, I hope so too, sir. Although I'm perfectly content with my present form, it seems to be a source of considerable distress to my wife. So again, these ticks that are a sign of the times, I love them. So and so and so he's gonna take him inside. She says the Quinjet, and he says, don't worry about it. We'll take proper care of it. And so there's going to open up these things, but guess what? It crushes it and destroys it. So something sinister is going on. You can see the student here grabs the thing and then kicks it in there. And so, but you see this blink here. And that is an alarm that the East Coast Avengers are going to receive. And the She-Hulk says, "What's that noise?" And Captain America says, "That's the Quinjet emergency alarm, She-Hulk. One of our aircraft has just been destroyed." And she's like, "Destroyed? What?" And so they go take a look and says, "Hey, it's in Texas near the town of Absalomon." And they know because they had put in some stuff on the so they were able to triangulate it. And She-Hulk can tell it was one of the West Coast, and Captain America says, "Yes, it is, Jennifer. But since my decision that both teams should function as one from now on, this falls under the heading of our responsibility too. Let's move out," says Captain America. And so they tell the Scarlet Witch that they can fix him, and this one says, "Hey, we can take you right now, and we'll be ready to begin." So the Vision's like, okay." So off they go, and she gives him a kiss, but you can see there's no, it doesn't go back, and she cries, and she's like, "Be careful, my love, be well, and then I will see you again in a short while." Um, Hilarious. I actually wanted to read something that I thought was really funny. Let me go back here because I just thought it was hilarious. When they uh, when they meet, I hope when he says, "I can help you," he's like, "I hope so too, sir. Although I'm perfectly content with my present form, it seems to be a source of considerable distress to my wife." Hilarious. So, all right. Sorry, I normally don't go back, but thought I should here. So, and so she wants to go with him. Look at her. I mean, she looks like, I don't know. It's just, oh my god, whatever. And so he's like, "You must be emotionally exhausted." And she's like, "I am tired." So they're gonna take her to what she believes is her room, and then she walks in here and says, "What?" And he closes the door, and she's like, "What are you doing? Open the door." And of course, um it's all some kind of trap. They never intended to help the Vision. They only wanted to capture him. This may be another arm of the government agency that kidnapped him before, but if they think that this door can withstand my mutant hex powers, they are sadly. And suddenly she goes back in pain here. And she's like, "That sound, that terrible, felt as though my bones were on fire. Can hardly think straight. Residual pain." And so off a panel here on an electronic type screen here. "My apologies, Wanda. And so I regret the necessity of causing such discomfort, but we could not allow you to escape before we complete our studies of you." And she's like, "Of me? But I thought the Vision." And he says, "The Vision is a mechanical contrivance, contrivance, and of no interest to us. No, it is you we wanted, Wanda. We selected out of all the known mutants on Earth. You were chosen because you are powerful, and we shall need power, but not so powerful that you could not be controlled. But perhaps some explanations are in order. The time of Homo sapiens is drawing rapidly to a close, Wanda. The age of the mutant, of Homo superior, is dawning. We intend to be a part of it. For all the uncounted millennia, the appearance of mutant genes has somehow stymied us. We have not been able to influence them or the mutants they created. Now, if we are to move into the new dominant species, we must develop this facility." And she's like, "I don't understand." And he's like, "Perhaps it's not really necessary after all that you do. The assimilator is ready." And so you can see this ooze is coming through in between the tiles, and it's grabbing her. And I love the screen tones here. And you can see it is just engulfing her, and she can't move, and then she's swallowed up by it. And then we get to the end here. The babysitter's looking, you see the two kids here. The babysitter is looking for one of the toy cars. She goes, gets it, and then turns around, and the kids are gone again, which has been something that John Byrne's been doing from the very beginning. So anyway, sorry about the dog here. So next issue, This Ancient Evil. West Coast Avengers number 47 by John Byrne. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.